Never forget the level of insanity and propaganda and absolutely idiocy liberal white woman fell for.
This is America. Don't
Cringe! Yes, of course, you gotta be freaking crazy to fall for some of the insanity. As some people are arguing they're falling for the insanity because of things like TikTok, as Meg from Family Guy here clearly isn't self-aware of the current situation happening right now around the world, which I think is of key utmost importance. While, of course, we keep hyper-focusing on making sure that there's not criticism of one particular country and its foreign policy. As Hillary Clinton has just come out and said, how dare TikTok engage the rabble and influence the young people on not fully backing and supporting countries like Israel? What? Glenn Greenwald has some very interesting things to say about this, as of course, so does Tucker Carlson. That probably is next on the chopping block, as the big lobbyists have now successfully taken over TikTok. They're doing a great job eliminating conversations that are critical in college campuses. And now, more importantly, they're going to be going after individuals. As I will argue, there are far more important things than just criticism of this kind of niche type of foreign policy Middle East issue that I think are more significant that this administration should prioritize. Is, of course, they're rolling out the red carpet and doing anything and everything to help stop criticism of this one small country, rather than focusing on the larger, bigger picture here, which is devastating and absolutely important to talk about. If you agree, share this video with your friends and family members. I greatly appreciate all the new subscribers and all the new people watching this on this new channel. I can't thank you guys enough, and it's awesome to see this channel grow as much as it has during its beginning infancy. Now, population demographic decline of Western civilization, white populations, is huge. Only exacerbated by the war in Ukraine, by the way, which needs to end immediately. But right now, we're living in a situation where white people made up 30% of the world about 100 years ago. Now it's about 7% of the world, as Nigeria alone is outbirthing all of Europe and Russia. Yep. As Stephen Molyneux came out and says, white people are taxed to pay for the fertility of others. White men are denied jobs so others can start families. Exactly. That's what is really going on here, as we are having a white fertility collapse, especially with the subconscious subliminal propaganda that is in Hollywood, is in Netflix, it's in every TV commercial, TV show. The representation of white men is usually one of evil people or fat, dumb, stupid people, while the representation of outside cultures and demographics and people who are being imported in is one of the savior, of the hero, of the smart person that is sensible, that is acting in a way that, of course, is seen as heroic and the right thing to do. That evil white man, though, ugh. I would say this is a key issue of the utmost importance. Is, of course, we're not only seeing a whole population of people declining, but with it, culture, with it, actual diversity, with it, actual accolades and history and heritage of people who I would argue have developed and built some of the more amazing things in this world. Now, granted, different cultures build different amazing things here. And if this was, let's just say, the Latin American culture that was being extinguished, I would have an issue with it as well, but it's not. It's growing. White fertility rates collapsing, with not just biological forms of warfare, but psychological subliminal forms of warfare that have prevented and stopped and have empowered women to be strong, independent girl bosses. As now younger women have more opportunities and better financial prospects and better and more savings than, of course, males do. which is creating a situation where a lot of the women are saying, yeah, we're the earners now, majority in most Western countries now, and we don't need men. And therefore, the breakdown of the family unit happens. This is a complicated type of scenario and situation. But don't worry, this administration and other special interest groups are now going to take control of TikTok in order to stop criticism of one small country in the Middle East. And again, I always argued, like, this shouldn't be our issue. We shouldn't care. Let's take care of our issues domestically. And I think this is a key issue of importance. But the Trump administration has said, you criticize this one country, deported, even if you're going through the legal process of becoming a U.S. citizenship, which I think is a little absurd, which I think is a little bit crazy. As now we have individuals like Larry Ellison, who, by the way, is just bragging about creating artificial intelligence to implement mass surveillance, global database systems, that just recently got and bought TikTok. He owns Oracle. He owns a bunch of private islands. He has a bunch of defense contractors. And he's also having his hands in places like CBS, Paramount. As now, after this recent takeover of TikTok, there's censorship of APAC influence in the United States and censorship of what a lot of people believe to be clear breaking of international law by this one foreign country. As now in comes Hillary Clinton blaming TikTok for influencing young people's, quotes, views on Israel, saying it's a serious problem for democracy. We need that democracy. It's a serious, the TikTok. Glenn Greenwald had his kind of rebuttal to this, which I think is important. We're going to be playing the clip from Hillary Clinton at this Aldenson-sponsored conference, and then Greenwald's response to it, though. Before we do, though, we just quickly wanted to remind you guys to check out thebestpoliticalshirts.com, where you could get really great, awesome, cool Christmas sweaters and gifts ready for the holiday season. Get them now so they come in on time. So you could be at your family gathering, your friend gathering, at the bar, or at the clubs with some of the latest, hottest, spiciest Christmas gifts out there. The shirt I'm wearing right now, also a great one. Kids don't belong in the, quote, indoctrination system, which you could get on thebestpoliticalshirts.com. So you could always search for whatever topic you are inclined to represent. You just type in school right here on thebestpoliticalshirts.com, and bada bing, bada boom, pops up the shirt that's available right now in long sleeve. We also have tank tops, V-necks, sweaters, you name it. We got it. All available on thebestpoliticalshirts.com. It's a great way of being lazy activists, getting the message out there, but most importantly, also finding like-minded people and friends. It's a very lonely time of the year for some people. And listen, you can make their day. You can make your day. You can meet so many people just by wearing a shirt, making people laugh. And this is the best way to do it, thebestpoliticalshirts.com. Now, great holiday gifts as well, especially some of the more hyperbolic political ones we got here. Here's what Hillary Clinton had to say at a pro-Israeli event here, saying, oh, the horrors, this TikTok, and it's just influencing all these people not to go along with what the government wants them to go along with.
Our students.
But the things that they're going along with, it's great. The other stuff that they're not, oh, that's bad. We got to stop that.
Smart, well-educated young people from our own country, from around the world, where were they getting their information? They were getting their information from social media, particularly TikTok. That is where they were learning about what happened on October 7th, what happened in the days, weeks, and months to follow. That's a serious problem. It's a serious problem for democracy, whether it's Israel or the United States, and it's a serious problem for our young people.
Serious problem. Oh, how dare people get a different type of opinion and perspective that doesn't go along with my special interest groups that are paying me to be here. They're paying me to be here. You better agree with them. You better say everything they want you to say.
And it was frankly shocking to me how little the students we were encountering, not only in this class we teach, which is a very large class, international relations, about crisis decision making, but students more generally. And that's why I mentioned the social media piece of it, because when you would try to talk to them to engage in some kind of reasonable discussion, it was very difficult because they did not know history. They had very little context. And what they were.
And it's true. Listen, some of the things Hillary's saying, they're not wrong. People are just kind of following the herd and they're watching TikTok and they're like being programmed by it. And TikTok, that wasn't controlled until now by the special forces, was allowing outside voices and influence that didn't go along with U.S., Israeli foreign policy, geopolitical initiatives. Therefore, it was an issue that needed to be stopped, and it was and has been, which Hillary Clinton's points are kind of mute here. Now, again, a lot of the stuff that's kind of fed to us, it's predominantly fed by the intelligence agencies, right? If they're talking about, oh, TikTok manipulates the algorithms, okay, yeah, so does Facebook. So does the very platform we're on right now. And they have, especially when Biden was in office, with the CIA coming to them and saying, yeah, this Luke Rudowski, we are changing how you're going to downvote them. You're going to make sure less people see them. This other guy promoting our ideas, telling us how great the government is and how everything. CNN, great, promote them. We got our CIA guys running and, giving them, telling them what to do, and they follow their orders. Luke's not following orders. Downvote Luke, promote CNN. And that's exactly what YouTube did, to the detriment of actually having a real civil discourse. They still do that in some ways, as of course we're seen as controversial, borderline content, which is this made-up Orwellian quote, which I think is idiotic. And then, comparatively, you have authoritative sources that regurgitate slop, puke it back onto you, and it's just all fake, paid-for, sponsored PR marketing by the super-rich elite people who, of course, are there to imprint ideas in your mind.
Let's just break down a little bit of what she said there. She's so unbelievably condescending and rotted inside. She said that the reason young Americans have turned against Israel is not because they watched every day as Israel blew up Palestinian babies and incinerated them in tents and starved them to death and denied them anesthesia and antibiotics so that they had to subject themselves to surgeries without basic painkillers. No, it had nothing to do with that. Nor was it about the fact that they realized that the United States pays for Israel to go blow up babies every day. No.
Now, blowing up babies is a little bit of an exaggeration. There were some babies that were blown up, but predominantly the Israeli military was launching a major offensive and military campaign and embargo of an entire region, an imprisonment of an entire region. And you can see Glenn has his own kind of perspective here, which is a little biased, all right? Because I don't think all the Israeli military members like, babies, go the babies. Now, there were a lot of children in Gaza, and they were very negatively affected by the stopping of aid coming in, of medicine coming in, and there were horrendous, horrible human conditions that a lot of people faced. Donald Trump even admitted it. Jared Kushner even admitted it themselves, right? And it was a serious issue. But on the grand scheme of things, right, this is my argument here, and this is where I kind of deviate away from Glenn here. It was hyper-focused on Gaza, 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 Gaza. And they were getting one side of it. There's different sides to each particular story, right? You can see Glenn is a little biased. He has his opinions. He's very strong on this. I would just, say, maybe just speaking in these kind of absolutes. It's all babies. They're trying to kill the babies. Maybe is not the best thing to do here. But if you look at the life loss and the human suffering happening in Gaza, it's here compared to what's happening in Ukraine. That's here, right? When you look at the tremendous amount of life loss, way more happening in Ukraine with young Slavic men being sent to their slaughter by these robotic AI hunter-killer predator drones that are literally just blowing them up into red mists. Evil, cruel videos of people trying to surrender, of civilians trying to go about their day. And these, no mercy, no surrender, gone. Oh, you're still limping around? Send in another one. Oh yeah, he's missed now. Good. Oh, his head's over there. Good. His arm's over there. Good. Evil type of stuff. As of course the population of the West down dramatically. And if you're going to care about a single particular issue, it should be about ending the war in Ukraine. But these same leftists that are saying, oh, BLM, Gaza, well, we got to arm Ukraine. Huh? Stop war. Except the one in Ukraine. Because they've been programmed, and Hillary's right. I can't believe I'm saying this. Hillary's right. They have been programmed to say, yeah, more war in Ukraine. Stop the war in Gaza, though. Are we talking about, like, human atrocities, life loss, actually caring and consideration about population? Ukraine's here. And not to undermine Gaza. Gaza's still important, right? As you see, I'm not trying to just obfuscate saying forget about Gaza. But if we're going to be actually caring about that type of stuff with the existential crisis happening to a population of people that are being exterminated psychologically and with forms of fourth and fifth generation forms of warfare in very underhand and manipulative type of ways, we should care and consider about that.
No, it had nothing to do with that either. It's that these young Americans are very stupid, very stupid. They don't know anything. They're morons. Like the deplorables who didn't vote for her because they're really stupid too in 2016. These are idiots, she said. And the reason they were so easily deceived, why their ignorance was so easily exploited, was because TikTok manipulated them into thinking Israel was bad.
Now, listen, there's a nuanced point here. Social media does influence a lot of people. I think this administration is spending way too much time protecting, aiding, and abetting this one little country in the Middle East to the detriment of us, as we have a real, desperate, crazy situation happening with policies that are destroying and ruining local populations. Europe's done. Put a fork in it. Europe's done. It's awful. Western Europe is done. Still some saving grace in Eastern Europe with some of the countries, Hungary, Poland, still holding strong so far, but they're teetering on just total leftist globalist control. Tucker Carlson made some good points talking about how, listen, people are being extorted here emotionally, and a lot of this is just absolute nonsense.
Who are the largest group of Israel supporters in the United States. And their view of Israel is colored not just by sentimental attachment, which is fine, or trips to Israel, great, no problem, but by a Christian heresy, the oldest of the Christian heresies, which is that God somehow prefers some people based on their DNA. And of course, the whole point of Christianity is that that is no longer true, that there is no chosen people. The chosen people are people who choose Jesus.
And that's the arguments that they're making, and that's why Tucker Carlson has been on their cancel list, right? And that's why they're so strongly pushing against Tucker Carlson, because how dare you raise criticism? And I think his criticism is legitimate.
That is the Christian message right there. It's not an anti-Semitic message, by the way. It's the Christian message. It's the core Christian message. And yet there are many, many self-described representatives of the Christian faith, the world's largest, who are daily sending a different message. And we should be very clear, whatever this is, it's not Christianity, it is heresy. And among the many examples we could pick, we're gonna go, because we couldn't control ourselves, with Lindsey Graham. Watch.
To people in my party, I'm tired of this crap. Israel is our friend. They're the most reliable friend we have in the Mideast. They're
very similar statements like Hillary Clinton. This is Hillary Clinton in a wig. They look almost exactly the same.
Democracy, surrounded by people who would cut their throats if they could. This is not a hard choice if you're an American. It's not a hard choice if you're a Christian. A word of warning. If America pulls the plug on Israel, God will pull the plug on us.
What? What kind of manipulative form of like psychological operations is this?
God will kill you if you don't support Bibi Netanyahu. That's what he's saying. And there are cheers, unfortunately, cheers when he said that God will kill you. He will pull the plug on you like a quadriplegic in intensive care. You're going to flatline. unless you support the secular, abortion-on-demand government of Israel. That's the Christian perspective, really. That God loves some people more because of their DNA, that is not the Christian message. That's the opposite of the Christian message.
Exactly. You would think that message would ring true amongst a lot of people, but that is heresy that needs to be addressed and canceled immediately, which I find ridiculous. If you find it ridiculous, share this video. Thank you so much for helping us grow this independent media channel. You getting the t-shirts, the sweaters, the long sleeves helps us so much, and I can't thank you guys enough for doing that. I love you guys. Stay tuned for more. All here exclusively on youtube.com/wearechange.